Your host, Mr. Craven. All right, guys, so it's back. The Backdraft build. Okay, I've made a lot of alterations since its original conception, given the fact that I used to use Scathing Mage as a static. I no longer do that, but I want to go ahead and get into this build, and we're going to go ahead and get started by going into the character sheet. On staff side, you're going to see max Magicka at 40,611. Magic recovery is at 1208. That's usually a little low, but given that's a dot build, I do heavy attacks within my rotation, so I'm pretty comfortable with that. And hopefully, if I get a healer that has utilities, I'm usually fine with that. But, you can always make these adjustments if you need to. Also, you're going to go ahead and see my spell crits at 53. And prior to any buffer builder, my spell damage is at 2,125. To the left, you're going to see everything allocated to 64 max Magicka. The Mundus we're running is the Lover. Now, I do want to say this for the record. If you're doing 4-mans, the Lover is going to be more productive. But if you're going to do trials, all you have to do is switch it out to the Apprentice. Now, the reason being, because you got to watch penetrating values. Usually when you're in a 12-man, there's a lot more penetrating deductions happening on the boss. So, given that fact, you go with the Apprentice, you're going to push out more. But if you're in 4-man, go with the Lover, because you want to capitalize on penetration. Okay, so, anyways, one second. So, then on dual wield side, you're going to see my max Magicka is at 41,942. Max health, 19,221. Magic recovery bumps up just a little bit. And then you're going to see spell crit still at 53. And that's pretty much the dual wield. Now let's get into the sets. Okay. So we're going to be using Julianos, Valken, and Burning Spellweave. All right. So let me go ahead piece by piece. Now, I'm going to be using the Lightning Staff of Julianos, Nirnhone with increase. The reason I'm going with the Lightning Staff will increase AoE damage. So every AoE damage I put on the Lightning Staff, it's getting a bump. Plus, when I'm weaving, I get that splash damage. That can help proc Falcon Scorian. So I'm going to go ahead. If you want to use the Flame Staff, you can. Now, I am a Dunmer. You can use other races, but Dunmer is really strong with Magicka DK. So you have a lot of options. If you want to go with another race, that's completely optional, though I do recommend the Dunmer. And Lightning Staff, once again, it's a preference call. I like the Lightning Staff. Sword of Julianos, Nirnhone, increase. Currently I have the Burning Spellweave Sword. Yes, it's in training. I'm going to transmute it. I'm going to probably go with the Decisive, just for some extra, ultimate regen. Okay, so I have the Falcon Scorian Helm, infused, ideal, max Magicka. I have Jerkin of Julianos, ideal, infused. I haven't upgraded it yet. That's ideal. Falcon Scorian, divine, max Magicka. Burning Spellweave Sash, divine, max health. Gloves of Julianos, max Magicka, divine, ideal. Breeches of Julianos, infused, max Magicka, and Shoes of Julianos, divine, max Magicka. I also have the Burning Spellweave necklace with spell damage, Burning Spellweave ring, regen, Burning Spellweave ring, regen. I have the glyph in the bank for these, but you want to try to get to 169 to get a little bit of extra recoup. But I just haven't done it yet. Okay, so that's it for the skill, the gear. Let's get into the skills. Okay, primary bar, single target bar. We're going to use Degen. Degen is a really good builder. Now, what I mean by builder is simply it deals damage and it also grants me the major sorcery and the empower from the Might of the Guild. You can go with the Inner Light to grab your empower, but here's the deal. It costs 4,000 Magicka to do it. Degen's costing me 1,002. That's resource management. Plus, I'm getting my major sorcery. So if I want to, to save on resources, it's a lot more effective to use Degeneration. Now, also keep in mind what Degeneration does for me. It also gives me a dot, which can proc Falcon Scorian, and then on top of it, it gives me an ability to recoup health. because every time I deal light or heavy attack, I have a 15% chance to heal myself for 115% of the damage caused. So I prefer the degen. A lot of players frown upon it. That's them. That's their playstyle. Let them have it. Also, the Molten Whips. I use this because it's a single target. It does the off balance, but while it's slotted, it increases my spell damage for 100 for the Ardent Aflame abilities. So I keep my Ardent Aflame abilities to this bar. My follow-up is Burning Embers. Burning Embers is going to deal a nice amount of damage. So I love it, plus a dot. So once again, I have dot, then I follow up and I have the Engulfing Flames. Engulfing Flames is important because it infects your enemy, increasing your flame damage by 10%. I do not use the flaming thing, you know, with Cauterize, like the other morph to Cauterize. I don't use that. Why? I get more from the Burning Embers. So this is what I do. Inner Lights on both bar, max Magicka, plus I'm getting that major prophecy. And then Shooting Star on this bar. Going to the back bar, I use Eruption. Eruption is a really nice AoE damage because it has a long duration. It's really nice. I really enjoy it. Plus, it can, once again, proc Falcon Scorian. I use the Unstable Wall of Storms. If you want to use the Blockade, you can do that. But I personally prefer the Unstable Wall of Storms. I also use the Burning Talons. If I have my DK tank, I use the Choking Talons. But on the Magicka DKs, I use the Burning Talons. So unless, you know, I'm doing certain trials, which they're immune to it, then I will substitute this for my Draw Essence. So I'll switch this out sometimes for the Draw Essence, depending on the trial. Also, I use Volatile Armor. Why do I use Volatile Armor? 2 reasons. It's going to give me the major resolve in the major ward, increasing physical and spell resistance, so that allows me to stay in the pocket, because DKs play up close. They're not really a heavy ranged Magicka build. So I need a little bit more resistance. I'm going to get the minors from the healers, but I want that major. Plus, it's also going to go ahead and do a dot damage. Once again, that can help proc Falcon Scorian. And when I'm being dealt damage, I return Magicka damage to melee attackers. So that's why I like it. Inner Light, and then, of course, the Thunderous Rage. So that's pretty much the layout. Now let's go into the champion points. Okay, so I have Elfborn at 1208, Y equivalent value of the Shadow Mundus. You know, it's pretty much my standard on all my builds. Spell Erosion is at 2,692. Remember, even though we're getting the 4,884 in the light armor, and we're using the Lover Mundus, we know that Major Fracture, Major Breach is going to be applied, but we don't know if any other debuffs are going to be affected. So we want to go ahead and take advantage of some Spell Erosion. Elemental Experts at 1208. Staff Expert, I do a lot of weaving. This is at 1538. Master at Arms, 19. Now keep in mind, I want at least 75 into the Butcher, so my light and heavy attacks damage is increased by 5% when enemies are below 25% health. That just helps increase that damage during the, you know, the finishing phase. Okay, Thaumaturge, I am a heavy dot build, so I pump in a lot into this, but I don't want to put too much to derive from my other abilities and base damage, so I put this at 1602. Ironclad, 1510. We've got 1 point left. I put in Light Armor Focus, this Thick Skin, 1510. Hardy's at 1015. I am a vampire, so I put Elemental Defender at 14. And I also put Quick Recovery at 909. Going into the tower, we have Warlord at 904. We have Tenacity at 14. Arcanist at 14, never go over, diminishing returns. Healthies at 927. I had some extra points left over, so I put in the Tumbling, 5.23, and reduced the block by 5.23. And that is how the champion points are allocated. Now, I want to make sure I don't have any dailies. I don't think I do. Alright, we're good. Now, let me see if I can get my phone here. I'll check out the comments really quick before I pick them up. One second. Now, this is another reason why I don't... Good morning, Elvis. Good morning, Lewis. Good morning, Todd. One of the major reasons I do not use trial sets. Now, this is a very important thing here, guys. Julianos is my static, right? So I have a static set that's giving me 295. Now, this will go up to 299 once everything's gold. Excuse me. That's a static. That's a guarantee. It applies to all damage types. Plus, it's giving me my crit. But here's the big deal. I'm using a secondary stacked set with Burning Spell Weep. Why? Because when it procs, I'm getting 507 spell damage for 8 seconds, right? Now, if you want to use a Master Staff or a Maelstrom Staff or whatever type of staff, you can do that and replace the Juliano Staff. Here's the deal, though. Once you do that, you have to replace one of the gear pieces because you're going to go ahead and replace the belt with Julianos. Then you'll need 2 swords of Burning Spellweave if you're going to do that. Also, keep in mind, you're going to lose the extra Burning Spellweave 4th piece, which is your crit. So you're going to need a precise staff because you're losing the critical value. So if you're going to use a Master, Maelstrom, or any staff, get the precise. All right? That's what you want to do. Remember that 4th piece trait, whatever you're going to lose, you want to pick up the value difference of your loss on the other value. That's how you cover that. Okay, let me check this. Morning, Robert. Good morning, Mustang. I pugged Vet Ruins of Maz last night, and it took 2 hours. Oh, snap. Oh, wow. That would stink. White gold. Now, my dude's supposed to be on today. He'll probably get on a little later. Elden Hollow 1. That's pretty cake.
Your gear.
Black Heart. Not bad. Okay. Elden Hollow and Blackheart. I guess switch this. Hopefully I get, a Q. I can never tell. I can never tell on these things. Now, a lot of the times what I like to do is open up on the front bar, blow, on an AoE rotation. Same thing. Single target's pretty easy. Whew. I'm telling you, this bitch burns hot. And I'm not using magic for Magicka builds. I'm not using trial sets. Just something I'm not into at the moment because to me, not to say the Minor Slayer isn't good. It's just, it's not pumping out enough for me in that aspect. Yeah, those runes are definitely terrible to pug. Yeah, I like the DLCs when you're in organized play. But, seems more and more you got to go ahead and get somebody who knows what they're doing. Let me see if I can crack this. 13 base. Damn it. $23K on a whip. Woohoo! It's hot! It's hot! It's hot! Shit gets hot. I love this build. People say I don't know what I'm doing. They're fucking high. $21. $21. $23. You'll see the difference. Prior to the Burning Spell Weave, I'm hitting 21. When Burning Spell Weave kicks in, I'm getting an extra almost 2k a hit. Now, these are just general mobs. So, depending on each of the targets, that'll scale down, you know, depending. But ideally, that's at full penetration, I can get 23. With Warhorde, Spell Power Cure, and everything, I can get almost up to 25 on a cracked whip. It's just nasty. It's gross. It's like, this build is nasty, nasty, nasty. It's, you know, and I usually do a lot of PvPing with the DK, Magicka DK, because a lot of people are like, DK doesn't have a lot of burst damage. I beg to differ, because when you take a look at the DK and we go into the skills, a lot of times people ignore the upfront direct. Remember, Molten Whips has a direct damage associated. It's not a dot. Now, if the burning status effect is applied, which it can be with the whip, you're going to get a nice little dot effect afterwards, but it's direct. This is a direct damage. Also, keep in mind the same thing with Burning Embers. Burning Embers deals a direct damage, then a dot damage on top of it. So I'm dealing a 5,000 direct with 15,700 dot secondary. You know, same thing with the Engulfing Flames. We have a direct, and then we have a dot. Now, the dot's more powerful on the Engulfing Flames, but keep in mind what the Engulfing Flame does. It gives you that 10% boost. So when you hit a target with it, poof, that 10% is magnified onto your Molten Whips and your Burning Embers. Now, when we take a look at Eruption, the same thing is seen. We have a direct damage effect with a secondary dot. So that's the big deal. This is also why I use the Unstable Walls in my rotations. We have direct, we have secondary. So when people say that DKs do not have a direct form of damage, that's a lie. A lot of people don't understand how to properly use Magicka DKs. Magicka DK, though, has the one consistent for its party members. It's true, its dot damage deals more than direct in most builds. But here's the deal. When you're in a trial, the one thing you can bank on with Magicka DK is consistent damage, even through a mechanic. So once the applied effect is in, it's dealing that damage even when burst builds can't. And that's why it's so powerful. So a lot of people overlook that and they're like, well, I don't really think a Magicka DK has much to offer a party versus these other class. That's not true, because in MMO 1-on-1, when we're looking at raids, trials, or whatever in the past, we're always looking at one important factor during mechanics. Who's the dot damage? Because dot damage doesn't need to be the highest damage. It has to be the most consistent damage. Because we know mechanics are going to lock up our burst damage. So that's why we always prefer dot. We always want a dot damage build in our team. So I'm going to check out some comments. Once in a while you get used to good pug for DLCs. Yeah, it happens once in a while. It can. We had to boot a lot of healers who were under 160. Why do they do that? Like, I thought they were supposed to, like, fix that where, you know, they weren't able to queue the DLCs under. So, to me, that's kind of like, why are they doing that still? Alright, I'm going to try to re-queue it. Alright. Hoping to get a run in here. My dude was on. He's on vacation, so... All of my friends are offline. No! Too early. And I have a shitload. If I have to queue in normal, I'm going to be depressed. Especially with these vets. Come on. Here we go. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. See 21-4. Oh, sweet. Sweetness. Cue it. Your DPS. Just hit the button. There's a take it a healer. Yes. 1 second. We'll mute this real quick. Okay, I don't need to be in there. Alright. Let's do this. This way. Oh, okay. That's slick. See if we get anything good. No, not at all. No, this way. Come on. Dude, you're messing with me, man. I think I saw a heavy sack over here while I was fighting. Could be wrong. Oh wow. Is there one up there? Damn it. Put him in. Get in there. Too. All right. No. Got for chest and heavy sucks. No. Please don't fight this thing up there. Fuck. I hate this thing up here. I bring it down all the time. No, that's not bad. Wow. Shit. Please do not kite the... Stop! Healer. You're not the tank, dude. Oh my god! What? Why? Why? Yeah, I hope you die. Oh, shit! $24. Woo! Don't tell me I don't know, son. Ooh, was that a Knight Errant belt impen? Hello? I bet you this dude just bugged this too. With all those ads in the back. It could possibly happen. Nope. Looks good. Oh, a chest. Hell yeah. I ain't too proud to beg now. Ugh. Excuse me. Oh my. Here we go. Let's go. Why? Can anybody wait for a tank? Weird ass lag. Like the delays in this can sometimes make you friggin' want to puke. Get back. Ah, well, that's pretty good. I have a pretty nice, damn nice burn. Yeah, cool. It's okay. It's alright, I guess. The DPS is adequate. I don't know. Oh, heavy sack. What the fuck? It's like my dude goes dumb sometimes. What the... This happened to me yesterday quite a bit. Like, bar, just kind of like... I don't know, man. I don't know. Oh my god! Ew, gross. Good yalts, fam. Oh. Alright. Let's see what we got going today in the trunks. Nope. Yeah, sure. Yeah. Anything? No heavy sack? I'm getting robbed and no chest. Well, I had a chest earlier too, so beggars can't be choosers. Go over here and read the stupid scroll. Here, I'll pull it. He's mad. No, come over. Come over to the island. Don't do that. Are you oh my god, over. Stop, tank. Yes. The tank's doing a good job. It's the DPS. Ow, it's me. Oh no! Please, I don't want to be one of your minions. Ah. I can just breathe on him. Can't even roll. No, not again! Why me? I was already one of you! So bullshit. Dude, that just broke my Falcon Scorian! Shut up! Oh, dude, that is so badass! Are you serious? You bastard. This sucks. He's laughing. At least it's not the healer, I guess. Oh my god. Boo. That wasn't much fun for me. Invigorating and just undaunted. Underweave. Oh, whatever. Oh, somebody got the Knight of Errant Sword. Alright, so I'm gonna bow out. Alright, I'm gonna check out some comments. Takes a minute. Mystic, after watching your last few videos, just wanted to say that you shouldn't feed into your trolls. You don't need to prove yourself to anyone. You push out great content, and we support you. Thank Lewis. I appreciate that, and you're right. You want PC? Not today, Krill. I agree with Lewis. Just busters with nothing better to do than just to disrupt you, bro. Right. I agree with Lewis. Just start ignoring the trolls and do your thing. Yeah, that's good advice, guys. Ignore them, and they'll go away. Fergal, Nick, is there any reason you use dual wield on your bar other than 2-slot for sets? Okay, so that's a good question here. All right, so if I wanted to go with the Inferno Staff, I can do that, right? So if I wanted to replace the swords with an Inferno Staff, I could, but I'd have to give up my monster set to do it, or the swords. Remember, most configurations they're running is like a 5-3-2. Right? So they're running 5 Julie, 3, and then that lets them use the master weapons or something. Because they think that deals more DPS. That's not always the case. That is not always the case. Sure, I'm only getting 5% with the swords. So when I go into the passives, and I go into Destruction Staff, right? Here's the deal. So when I go into Ancient Knowledge, single target damage is increased by 8%. So I'm losing 3% because of the swords. So when I go into the passive, excuse me, like Twin Blade and Blunt, I'm getting that 5%, right? So I'm getting 5%. So I'm getting 2.5. 2.5 times 2 is 5, right? So I'm getting 5%. So I'm losing 3%. But this is where I'm making it up because I'm proccing the Burning Spellweave. The Burning Spellweave is going to give me 507 additional spell damage. That's going to give me more than using the double Destro build. So because I'm increasing it, I'm using the second, I'm using Julie as the static, which is true on a lot of builds for Magicka. Not always. I will quote this. Not always is that the case. So please, please, please do not think Julianus is the way to go with every Magicka build. That is not the case. It's a good standard set, but you can build from that. That's a building set. But on a build like this, I'm using a proc. So I'm using a static and then I'm using a stacked proc to increase my spell damage significantly. Now, the nice thing about Burning Spellweave, that goes across the board. So it doesn't just apply on one effect like my Magicka Nightblade. My Magicka Nightblade, I bank everything on the dual side to push out more single target damage. So I lose on the AoE damage, but I'm recovering a lot more DPS on double stack sets with the monster proc. Same kind of idea here, but the Burning Spellweave will apply on both ends. So I'm not losing, I'm gaining a significant more amount of damage. So that's why I'm doing it. I have a static, I have a proc, and then I have the monster set. I don't need the Inferno, but you can go with that if you're willing to give up the monster set. And then go with 2 statics. But it's not always in your best interest to do so. What sets are you running? I'm keen to start a Magicka DK because they look like... I have a bunch of builds, D-Jaws. This one is the Backdraft build. I have the Asphyxiation build. I thought I had my other Overwhelming ring. I can't find it. I might have to go back into Tempest to get it. But I have that build. We're going to be redoing that build. Morning Storm. Calm down. Holy shit, 3 times. Yeah, I got that 3 times. My God, you're a blah, blah, blah. My grandma's a better player. Okay. Sure. Okay. See, trash trolls like this guy, just block and ignore. Right. You know, and that's the thing. The thing about it is, they want to go ahead and bust it on my you know, whatever. And, you know, it is what it is, guys. You know, I can't, you know, it is what it is. I'm not sitting here, you know, to me, I do what the builds that are, you know, providable. This is a good setup to get. Like, Valken Scoring is probably going to be your hardest set to get because you have to do City of Ash 2 to get the headpiece. But you can use another monster set in its place until you obtain it. But Burning Spellweave you can get in City of Ash 1. And if you do City of Ash 2 to get your Valken, you'll get some Burning Spellweave anyways. But the Vet 1 is pretty easy to come by. So you can go get that. You can get those Burning Spellweave pieces. The sword is the hardest one to get. It's the hardest thing to get. As you can see, mine's in training. I will be transmuting this. But Juliana's is an easy set to acquire. Burning Spellweave's not that hard. Once you get your Valken Scoring, it's a great build. You have the static, you have the proc, you have everything firing. You know, I deal a tremendous amount of damage. I don't have to worry about reapplications of a lot of things because my durations are down. That's something you can always improve upon with the DK is timing, as far as like when your durations come up and when you should be hitting things. But when everything's said and done, it hits like a freight train. I mean, you guys see my ultimate, you know, if you recap my shooting star, I think it was like, I want to say 48, close to 50k on my shooting star when it procced with the Burning Spellweave. And, you know, I didn't know if I had the Spell Power Cure up or anything. I'll probably review to make sure the buff icon was up or something. But yeah, I can hit like a freight train a lot better with this setup than using a trial setup. It's just the way it is with my Magicka builds. And personally, until I see some kind of evidence to give me an indication why I should be running this or why I should be running that versus my configurations, because I've tried different configurations, it's not worth it for me. You know, I lose the DPS. And that's just not something I'm willing to do. I'm not willing to lose DPS because, oh my God, you know. Okay, let me check. They want attention. They get off on your actions. Yeah, they're losers. How do you feel about Grothar instead for the AoE? I do not like Grothar. I don't. But this is why. Grothar deals 2,000 and something every second, right? And it has like a 10-second cooldown or something crazy. It's on my other tune. With Valken Scorian, I'm guaranteed that 8% chance with the DK is guaranteed because I'm dealing a lot of dots. Same thing with Magicka Nightblades, a lot of dot damage. I'm dealing 12,690 flame damage from the get off the single target and then 5,880 flame damage to all enemies within 5 meters. This can happen every 5 seconds. So even if Grothar, I don't know if I have any Grothar pieces on me here. Let me see. I don't think I do on this tune. But the Grothar, it's uptime. I tried it. You have to be in it. You have to be up close for the proc, for the radius. This is just a nice distance. I can be anywhere and it'll hit. Poof. And it's every 5 seconds. You know, sure, it doesn't have that every second, but the direct effect just makes up for it. It's really nice. I really like the Valkynscorian on a lot of configurations. Not every configuration. I wouldn't use Valkynscorian on a sorcerer. You know, that's me personally. I think Grothar is a good set if you prefer to use Grothar. So if you like Grothar, by all means, go for it. So that's what I will say. Mystic, you in PS4 right now? Right, yes I am. Don't listen to them. I know you don't, but your builds help a lot of people. Thank you, Gavin. I appreciate that, dude. Thank you. You know, Gavin, you've helped me out a lot last couple weeks, man. And you've been an inspiration to me, man. You guys are why I do this. I really like this, man. And like I tell people, like, I want to provide builds that people don't have the time to do, like, you know, let's say they can or they can't do Vet Maelstrom, or they don't have time to do Vet Maelstrom, or, you know, it's hard for them to get a good group for Vet DSA, or they're not into the trial situations yet. I want to provide builds that they can improve upon, that are typically easy to obtain, and you don't have to have said piece. So, you know, is an incentive? Yes. For example, and like I said in the beginning of this video, I can choose to use a Maelstrom staff, right? But check this out. I have Nirnhone right now. If I choose to use a Maelstrom staff, if you choose to, this is up to you, you would have to go with Precise instead of Nirnhone. Why? The simple fact of this is you're going to lose the 4th piece bonus of your spell critical. So when I go into this and I look at my character sheet, my spell crit's at 53%, right? My spell damage is 2125 currently. So if I go ahead and let's say I remove my belt, okay, and we go back into the character sheet, look what my spell crit does. It drops. It drops really bad. I still have the 5-piece Julianos. I still have the Inner Light, but I'm missing that extra spell damage. So if you take a look, I still have 3 pieces of the Burning Spell Weave, but 804 spell critical from my character sheet goes from 53 to 39. So if you choose to use the Maelstrom on a build like this, you can do that, but you're going to need Precise on that version. Now, if it was something else, like spell damage, you would take the Nirnhone. If it was Max Magicka, you would take Infuse. That's what I'm always telling people. So it's a preference call. You're going to gain from the proc off of the Maelstrom, but you're not going to get that Nirnhone. So I'm going to lose the spell damage to maintain the crit. So, but I'll get the proc, and the proc's really nice. That's what makes Maelstrom weapons enticing. It's not necessarily, you know, the stat, because the stat needs replaced. It's the proc's effect. So that's why I'm telling people, it's not as high as what most people would consider. Like, it doesn't boost up your damage by like an extra 10k DPS or some shit. You know, it's marginal at best, but it does improve it. So it's not a bad thing to have it. I'm not going to say that. I'm just saying you don't need it. That's what I'm saying. And that's why I'm trying to provide builds for players who don't have it, don't care to get it, and still want to do in-game content. And you can do that. You can completely do that. And it's an AoE. Right, exactly. So, yeah, Once again, it's all going to be depending on you. You know, those little effects, those little things. It's a great. The stabs are great. You know, the weapons can be great, but you got to alter it. Alter your build to get it to work. I'm not using trial sets on Magicka users. Since Horns of the Reach, it's not going to happen until there's something that gives me a defining answer to say this is going to perform more DPS than my current configurations. I'm not going to risk it. I'm not doing it. You know, a lot of people don't like a lot of my builds and a lot of my setups, and that's fine. Not every one of my builds is for every player. They work for me. I use them for reasons. I push out a nice amount. I'm not going to say my DPS is the best. I push out a shitload of DPS, so I'm comfortable with it. Am I the best at my rotation? Probably not. I have 20 tunes, so I mean, forgive me if I'm not like on top of like rotation par. I like your builds. Thank you, Storm. I appreciate that, man. I appreciate that. And like I said, I definitely want to give it up to you guys. You guys are why I do this every day of the week. I stay on here for all of you. If you could rank your Magicka DPS builds, which would you say are the most fun play? I love... My favorite Magicka builds to play is my DKs. My asphyxiation is the most fun. It deals a shitload of damage. I mean, I'm talking a tremendous. Now, I had to give up Scathing Mage, which I was using for that. So I was using like a static, and then I was using Overwhelming Surge. But now I'm going to be giving that up for a static of Julianos with a proc from Overwhelming Surge. And I like it because I can get Labyrinths and I use the Labyrinth set, and it's fun as hell. It's a blast. Like, overwhelming procs, the lightning hits. So I'm not just banking on, the lightning staff damage. I'm also, relying on a lot of other effects to, as far as, this and that, boom, 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 boom. Problem of it is, I got to take a look at penetration. Penetrating values is a real big concern with a build like that. But, it's fun. My asphyxiation build is a blast to play. It's probably one of my most fun builds to play. And I wouldn't say, I've taken it in trials before, and it did really damn good. Like, I was, like, pulling aggro when the tank couldn't, versus some of the other deeps. But, I mean, I wouldn't say it was outperforming players. I'm not that type of player. So, it was just fun. It's fun. A lot of things firing at once. A lot of stuff firing at once. And I think I got my one staff on here. I don't know if I do. Let me check. Right here. So for example here's my Master Inferno staff. Okay? So you get this in Vet DSA, right? So the one thing I like about it, they changed it up, for example, so we don't get that stat anymore. Right? And I'm just using this as an example. I could slot this, right? But right now it's in defending trait, and I'd have to go precise. But the biggest thing is I have to use the ability, the destruction touch ability, right? To increase the direct damage it deals. So that becomes the question. Am I using using the destructive touch ability in my rotation? Right? Am I doing it? And by 30%, is it a benefit to me to use this specific item and weapon? That's what you have to ask. That's what you have to go with. Like, is it a part of your rotation? And are you willing to give up are you going to sacrifice the trait to gain the proc? Or are you going to, make the equivalent value, saying I go with precise, and get that value and lose out on more spell damage up front for the proc. So there's going to be an exchange of loss somewhere to gain. And I said that yesterday. Sometimes less is more, but you have to ask yourself, am I willing to give this up to gain this effect? And I think the devs did such a good job with that because it applies to each individual's rotation, play style, and what they're wanting to do with their build. So I like that. I like that a lot. It's really good. And there's a lot more potential with upgrades in the future as far as like your build configurations. So I think it is a positive. I was using this build last night when pugging vet runs of Maz, and the other DPS, who is 620, was saying I have no DPS. I was laughing at him. He was a Stam Sork with no bow or hurricane. Ooh. Yeah. I can understand the bow. I have a two-handed dual wield build with Stam Sork, another one. But hurricane is always a must for me, no matter what. I use Hurricane a lot, and I feel like I said there's a lot of different play styles and stuff, but I don't feel like anybody has the right to down on anybody else. You know, I feel like unless for some reason they're new to it and they're still learning a rotation, or they're, you know, I don't. That's why I like pugging. I like pugging because I'm not sitting there. I don't know their build, and that doesn't matter to me what their build is. I just want to get the content done. That's it. If we can get through the content, why would I care what their build is? You know, at the end of the day, they're playing it to their play style. So to each their own. You know, that's the way I look at it. But anyways, guys, I'm gonna let you guys go. If anybody has any questions or comments about the build, please post below. I want to thank my community once again. You guys are the best, and you guys are why I do this every day. And if it wasn't for you guys, I don't know where I would be. Once again, thank you so much. I am Mystic Raven, this CSO Daily. Thank you for watching, and once again and always, have a nice day.